Welcome to the Christ Up podcast, where we help young people grow in their faith and build a relationship with God outside of the rigidity of religion. My name is Tuli.
And my name is Letu.
And we are your hosts. We are joined by our featured guests, much like last week, our cousins Njabulo Kumado and Ntsiga, a preacher.
Hi guys.
What's up?
They introduced themselves last week, and we will be joined by them for the remainder of the season and for the future. So today's topic is friendships, but specifically navigating friendships in adulthood. So I think this is actually going to be a tough conversation to have, not least because we have to actually look at ourselves and interrogate where it is we might fall short as friends. It's no secret that making friends and keeping friends is harder the older we get. And if you're anything like me, you prefer to keep a very small circle. And recently, that's really just been because of my energy levels being drained. The more people I'm around, I feel like the more energy they drain of me. So I like to keep a small circle, and I do actually like to be in my own company. But I do treasure the few dear friends that I have. And I'm also glad that a couple of these friends are people that I actually grew up with and have remained friends with for over a decade now. So they are a special bunch. But let's discuss what it takes to navigate a friendship in adulthood and why it is so difficult. So that will be my first question. What do you think makes navigating a friendship in adulthood so difficult, in your own opinion? Why do you think it's so difficult?
You can go first.
In my personal opinion, I think with our day-to-day lives, like we're all busy, pursuing, we're busy working, we're grinding, we're trying to not necessarily find ourselves, but like operate within ourselves. We have an established identity, so we have a set way of doing things. And what comes with that is often not necessarily having socializing time, because you're working. Not to say that, friendships are not important and so on, but in life, like in order for the people around you to flourish, the main and initial investment that you make will be in yourself. So for you to be an effective friend and whatnot, you first have to invest in yourself, and that will then pour into the friendships around you. So that time that you use to grow yourself, to move forward, is what makes it kind of difficult to maintain the friendships. But that's
Having a friend or being in a relationship or in a friendship, it takes a lot. It's not just us calling each other and just talking. I mean, when I'm Ntiga's friend, that means Ntiga, I have to leave some of Ntiga's part. I have to be Ntiga in a way, and Ntiga has to be me in some part. So as a kid, you don't have a lot of things. So that's why you can easily duplicate what your friend is doing, copy what your friend is doing, and him or her copying the same things that you're doing. But now then, as you grow, you get to know yourself. You get to figure out that as you grow, the circle becomes more smaller because now you can't be everyone and everyone can't be you. So that is why you find out that people who have a lot of friends actually, for lack of a better word or better phrase, they don't have really direction. They don't have backbone because they have different people in them. So I cannot deny the fact that if I'm Tiga's friend, in some way Tiga affects me. So in some way, I'll eat like Tiga, I'll talk like Tiga, maybe in some way I'll walk like Tiga or talk like him or read the kind of books that you read, have the same mentality. So you can't be having 20 friends, same mentality. Like how are you gonna divide yourself and how are you gonna intake all of them? So I believe it becomes difficult as you go because you need to be more of yourself and less of people for you to actually fulfill your purpose.
Yeah. Wow, thank you. That's an interesting perspective. I didn't actually think about how, when you are friends with a lot of people, you're collecting all these energies and you start to possess all these energies. And like different personalities, the more time you spend with the person, you start to kind of inherit their personality. I didn't think about it like that, but yes, that's so true. Letu, why do you think it's difficult to navigate friendships in adulthood?
I don't know. I think maybe because Like, we're all growing and learning new things about ourselves, finding out new. I think early adulthood especially is a very difficult time to navigate anyway. You're trying to figure your own self out, and so it might be a bit of a challenge to figure out what kind of people work for you, what kind don't, who you like being around, who you don't like being around, what your own likes and dislikes are, and then what you like and dislike in person. So I think it's just because while we grow, we're busy trying to figure ourselves out.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the things, because as you're growing, you're evolving. So I think you start to figure out what it is you don't like, what it is you do like, and then I guess the right friends, I guess, start to fall into place. And maybe that's why it's so hard sometimes to navigate friendships in adulthood. And then my next question is, if you are the toxic person within the friendship, are you able to recognize that you are the toxic friend versus actually recognizing other people?
Yo, you're coming at us, okay. So with me personally, I'm very self-conscious, and like, it's not even coming from a good place. Like, I have a lot of insecurities. So because of that, I have a lot of introspections. And with the introspections, like, I identify that, like, I don't even want to say sometimes, but a lot of the times in my friendships, I've been the problem, and with that, if we're in a friendship and you tell me that I'm messing up, it's hard for me to take it because I'm so self-aware. I'm like, you can't tell me something about me that I don't know. So because I want to avoid that thing, I introspect. And like, I've had many instances. I know we're not like on the point of relationships, but with friendships and relationships where I'm like, yo, I need to pull back because the space that I'm in, you're going to be caught in the crossfire of me trying to get myself back together. So like, allow me to step back, or like, if you're agreeing to stay within my space while I'm going through this, then you're kind of consenting to be caught in the crossfire that one day I'm going to be all happy chappy. The next day I'm going to be down and I probably won't care about what you have to say because I'm in my mind. So for me, I almost intentionally look for my flaws before anyone else points them out. And like I'm saying, it's not necessarily coming from anything good. Like, I'm self-aware because of my insecurities. I don't want to be in a friendship space and realize that I'm not contributing anything to the friendship. Like, I don't want to be within people and, be the weakest link, or, the you see that chain that breaks. Yeah. I don't want to be that person. I want to add worth and value to the people around me. So yeah, I look for my toxicity, and I wear it proudly when I step back, but don't tell me that I'm toxic. We're gonna fight. But I must tell myself that I'm toxic.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, as Zira was saying, I'd like to refer to Proverbs 27. I think it's 17. It says, it talks about an iron sharp. If I don't see you beneficial in I won't do things anymore. I won't give him the right energy. So I stay away. So if I don't see the friendship beneficial, I like to stay away. I've had a lot of friends in my life, like I've had a lot of friends in my life. And in my case, we were so beneficial to each other. And iron was sharpening another iron right there. Like, we were like family. We went extra miles for each other, but we ended up. I'd like to say, I don't know how they felt, but I ended up being hurt because the friendship at some point ended, and I'd like to believe it's not their fault, it's not my fault, but somewhere along the way, like, we couldn't sharpen each other in the right way, or so that's why the friendships ended. So I don't think I can see myself. That's why I choose to stay away from friends or people. Instead, I have a lot of associates whereby I see you today, we chill, or whatever, or we go to church, church mates, I have colleagues, I have all of those. The person I'm willing to be a friend with is kids when I have kids, is my wife and all that. But besides that, I don't think I want to have friends anymore because I definitely, I cannot see when I'm toxic. I
Oh,
don't see myself when I'm toxic. So yeah, I'd rather stay away from having friends and all that. I'd rather be alone, have associates and colleagues and churchmates because I've sharpened you and you can't see that I'm sharpening you. So you don't sharpen me back. So people nowadays don't realize that. So I choose to step away from that and just be alone. Not be alone, but yeah, around for lack of a better way, be alone and introvert. So, yeah.
yeah, I think that's fine actually. I'm a bit of a loner, but I do actually value my friendships. So, but I have a very, very small circle. And I like that you use like colleagues and associates and things like that. Because I think sometimes we do kind of use the word friend a bit loosely. And I'd say everybody can be your friend. But the truth is that some people are actually just your acquaintances. It's just people you maybe will go to church with. Maybe you do certain things with them, like you can go hiking with a group of people, but they're not necessarily your friends. They're just people you do that one activity with. Whereas, yeah, like your friends are people who are like really there as a part of your life and your journey. Do you want to speak to that, Letu, about how it is you are able to recognize, or are you able to recognize yourself when you're being the toxic friend?
I think, well, there's one friendship that I can think of that I did recognize that what I did was toxic. And so it was best it was best to just step away from that friendship. But I think that's where communication is important, because I mean, everyone has blind spots. You're not going to necessarily, you can do as much introspection as you like, but you can't experience yourself the way the next person experienced you. And so you can do introspection from your perspective, but you wouldn't have experienced yourself from that person's perspective. And so I think communication is important. In line with my experience of you were toxic because of ABC. So yeah, I don't think I would be able to point it out all that well myself. I think that's something that needs communication, and someone would have to come to me and be like, well, you hurt me when you did this because of this. And then I'll realize, oh, snap, that was a toxic.
I guess that's fair. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I write things down also. So a lot of the time when I'm like journaling, then I think to myself on certain things, right? So like I'll think about like, okay, if I had a fight with a friend, or I haven't checked in on a friend or something, like if I just feel like I've maybe not been 100% the friend that I should be, then because of my different pinpoint where it is I might go wrong. Granted, I probably won't get it right all the time, because sometimes what you think is wrong is not necessarily something somebody else might think is wrong. They might think like, okay, no, that actually wasn't that serious. And then something that you think is not that serious might be the thing that the next person is like, actually, that was quite serious. So yeah, I think it does help to communicate with other people, or just communicating with your friends, just to understand Wuti, like where you guys actually y'all still good, you're not, like what needs to be fixed, if anything. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one then. So the next one is what healthy boundaries can you put in place that can then determine that your friendship thrives? Because I do believe that boundaries are important. So
I can see all of us, we can't see ourselves. I'd like to think it's hard for us to see that we are toxic. I think it's because as we grow, I think as we grow, it's the more it's easy for us to be toxic. And why? It's not. I don't think it's a wrong thing. I don't think we should blame ourselves or blame ourselves for that, because as we grow, we have a lot of things. That's why we should keep our circle small, so that you can be able to share yourself to someone else. In that way, you won't be toxic, because you don't have. Imagine if you have to check up on 5 or 6 friends, and you have cousins, you have sisters, you have all of those families, and you have friends that you have to check up on, and only to find out on the other party you are the priority. Maybe he or she is not very close to the family, or his or her life is not that busy, so you are a priority. And mind you, not that she's not a priority to you, but your life is busy. You have a busy life. You have church, you have family, you're close to your family. Your life is just busy. So you become the toxic friend, because your life is busy and his or her life is not busy. So she or he demands more of your attention, more of your energy, more of your gifts, more of your financial assistance. It demands more of you more than you demand more of him or her, because your life is way too busy. Like, you talk to a lot of people, you assist a lot of people. I think as you grow, you can be toxic if it's easy for an adult to be toxic. It's easy for an adult to be toxic than a kid, because as a kid, your main focus is friends. People who build your own mind. That's why they say, show me your friends and tell you your future. I think it's because we hang around with friends too much when we're kids. But as you grow up, they advise us more to stay away from friends, because we end up being toxic because we don't give in the same energy, and we have different priorities. So yeah, it was just a comment on being toxic.
Yeah,
It's
which
easy for
is
us
so
to be
true.
toxic.
No, it is true. It is easy, I think. Yeah, it's easy to be toxic. It's also easy not to recognize when you're being toxic because of so much that's
Yeah,
going on. And yeah, like you're saying, like we're working, then there's church, there's friends, there's family. If you're a parent, I think it's even harder trying to, like balance everything. So yeah, it's definitely a lot, and it's definitely hard. And yeah, easy ways for us to then be toxic because of so much stress that we have on our shoulders. Yeah. um cool. Do you want to go back to the question then about the boundaries, what healthy boundaries we can set for friendships to thrive better?
yeah. On that, let me just continue then on that note. Um, I think on my side, and I still stand to be corrected, but that's how I see it. And iron chopping another iron. So what I do, you do. Maybe not the same way, but let let the friendship be beneficial. And what's more important to that, if another party doesn't see that, like Ulysses was saying that it's communication. I agree with that. It's communication. You don't you don't necessarily have to set serious boundaries that don't do this, don't do that. No, because your do's and don't may not be like mine. But communicating why shouldn't I do this? Let me understand. I think it's communication with understanding. Using that as boundaries. Okay, why doesn't okay, I'm gonna refer to the last week's podcast. Why doesn't Lottie go to church? Why doesn't he like church? Because I like going to church with her. I want to go to church with her. So understanding values that I will not have certain conversation, and I will not have setting boundaries, not because of likes and dislikes, but setting boundaries because of understanding, communication, that comes with understanding. Communicate why you don't want to do such, why can't you do such, and let that person understand why, not just it's just a like and a dislike.
Yeah.
Because at some point you have at some point we they say in a relationship you don't sacrifice, but instead you compromise. So we compromise a lot in friendship. So setting boundaries is for me it's communication with understanding. Why can't I do this? Why can't I say this? Not that maybe doesn't like me saying this. I mean, if you don't like me saying this and I like saying this, if it doesn't hurt you, it doesn't do anything, you just don't like it. I mean, I might as well do it with friends. It's supposed to be free, but if it comes with a better understanding and communication, no, don't do this or don't say this because you're triggering one, two, three. This this will end up me not liking being around you because this is how you talk, and how you talk triggers one, two, three in my life. But I certainly part that I don't like. So for me it's communication with understanding. If I had to set boundaries, for me it's I can't be strict on that because we're different
Yeah.
people.
Okay.
But what I can say is uh, communication with understanding, not just communication, but with understanding with why, how deep is it. I mean, if I'm your friend, I should know how deep the wound is. I should know why don't you eat cheesecake because of allergies or because I ate it a lot when I was a kid, so I don't like it. It reminds me of my so and so, or yeah. So I believe it's communication with understanding and deeper understanding, so that the next person may not do cannot do it, and if she or he does it, it can't even be a mistake. It, it, I call it quits. Like you can't do something that I explained to you, but I even made you understand how deep it is into me. So if you do it, I mean, for even a red flag for me, it's yeah, I call it quits. So I
uh,
believe that's the boundary. That's
yeah,
why
it's outplayed.
I
You don't
rather set
even need a
boundaries.
color. It's like you're just out.
Yeah,
You're not a friend anymore.
yeah, yeah. Because I told you, I told you that it's not that I don't want an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yes, look, this is one, two, three. I'm feeding a family. My mother's depending on me. Blah, blah, blah. I explained to you, it's not deep. I do want an iPhone. I do want to go to go with CT. I do want to go on with you that and that and that. But I can't use my money like that. I have to pay one so and so and so and so. I have to feed a family. I have to pay my brother's school fees. I have to, all those things. So if you come to me and tell me about you don't wanna be angry with me or we have an argument, uh, why don't you buy a new phone? Why can't you go out once in a while? Why can't you go out every Friday? For me, it's I call it quits because I told you I made you understand how deep it is. How why can't I use money in this way? Why can't I do this? So if you want us to go out, you save money and take me out because I explained to you. So it's quite it's deep. So it's a boundary because we communicated and I explained to you in like seriously and yeah in a deeper way, not just that I'm saving money, I can't go out with you, I can't buy a phone because I don't have money. No, I told you I can't go out because I am feeding my family. So it's deep. You should understand. So if you are going to bring it up in that way without helping me, then clearly you are not a friend. You are not willing to. You are not willing to be an iron that sharpens another. You just want to. I mean, yeah,
That's
communicate.
so
But
good
I
though
could
that you're
understand.
saying that because my thing is, I think communication for sure. So yeah, I absolutely, 100% agree with you. I think communication is so important, and I don't think we do enough of it. So it's so interesting because my cousin this weekend had brought up, I guess just like why she's not friends with certain people because she just doesn't feel like how you're saying, Jawula, that the iron is sharpening her iron because she was just like, it can't be that we're now, at the age of 22 and you're having friends that every weekend they're the kind of friends that are calling you just so that you can hang out and go out drinking or something, rather than just like talking things that grow you. So she was saying that she wants friends that are, talking about businesses and then, like those are the conversations she'd like to have. It's like, how are we making money? How are we building generational wealth? Those kind of conversations versus somebody calling you just to be like, oh, let's go out to this club, or like this, it's popping PvP, let's go there. Like how do you have friends that actually are friends that are building you up rather than tearing you down? But yeah, I think we don't communicate it enough because I was saying to her, like, but have you told your friends this? Or do they
Yeah,
just, like, or do they think Kutibona, they're just the good time friends, I guess, rather than actually being the friend that you call at 2 a.m. because maybe sometimes you are worried about something, you just want to have somebody to talk to. Like, is that the friend you have? Or is it just the friend that you can call upon when you need to go out and have a good time? So yeah, Nziga, do you want to take a shot at the question as to how it is you can have healthy boundaries for friendships, well, for your friendship to thrive?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with the first point. Communication is key. Communication with understanding. I feel like that's perfect. I want to take it back to self though. When you're established in yourself, when you know your identity, when you know who you are, when you know what you're pursuing, what your dreams are, what your goals, visions are, um, it's it's kind of a gateway to the right friendships and not having to necessarily overextend yourself. You're like, no, guys, I can't go out this weekend. I'm doing A, B, and C.
yeah,
So with you being set and established in your ways, you'll slowly start drifting from the people who aren't, on that same journey and gravitate towards the people that are. you know. And if you're in the middle of, you know, I feel like that's an indication of self. You know, a lot of times we want to push things away from ourselves, like, no, the environment does, the situation that, but your response, your actions, what you feed yourself, what you feed to others, like that's for me the most important thing. You know, even when you talk about iron sharpening iron, like, are you iron or are you just like a dull piece of steel? Like the Bible talks about iron sharpening iron, but what are you, you know? And also the type of iron that sharpens you, like you can be sharpened by people who aren't trying to progress, and you get sharpened in that area because you're spending time with them. And then you can be sharpened by people who are actually trying to progress. So it comes back to you. What are you choosing to do? You know, even in the Bible, it largely speaks about choice. You know, everything is a result of your choice. Whether the outcome is good or bad, it's a result of your choice. And just doubling back to like the previous question as well, the reason why I'm pushing it to self is on the basis of the question of, you know, the toxicity and whatnot. Like, if you know yourself, like in life, you are alone surrounded by people. And if you know yourself, you know your traits, you know what kind of person you are, you know how you carry yourself, then you'll be able to identify that, like, this isn't me. I'm not feeling like myself, you know. And the result of that is then the toxicities, you acting different. You know, when people like, yo, what's up? What's happening? Like, there's always a root of it. And the other person won't know what the root of the issue is because they're not in the issue. You know what the root of the issue is. So if you trace everything back to the source, it will come back to you. It will come back to how you responded to issues, how you responded to certain circumstances and so on. But when it comes to the boundary side of things, once again, it comes to you. Like, where are you as a person? What are you pursuing? What are you allowing into your space? What aren't you allowing into your space? What's the state of your mind? Are you open to learning? Are you open to hearing from people who are doing better than you? Are you open to having tough conversations like, guys, where can I do better in my business ventures? Where can I do better in, you know, whatever project I've started? Because you guys are carrying it well, you're doing it well. So what is it that I'm doing wrong? Like, just also being open to conversations that carry truth. Because when it comes to boundaries, like, there's certain things that you need to allow into your space as well as much as you need to keep out. So yeah, that's my 2 cents there.
Awesome. Thanks. Letu, would you like to speak to that question?
Yeah, I think I agree with both. In terms of, I don't think you can actually stipulate what are the healthy boundaries that you put in place, because I think those boundaries are ever changing.
Yes.
Because you as a person keep changing.
Yeah.
So as you evolve, your boundaries will evolve. And so that's why I agree with Ntsiga when he says it's really based on yourself. And because you're ever changing, I think the one constant would be communication with understanding. And that's where I think Ujab comes in, Gutsi. Regardless of how your boundaries change, the one thing that will always remain a constant that won't change is that communication with understanding is important in a friendship.
That's awesome. Jeez, yo, thanks, guys. And then just the last question then. So when can you tell a friendship is over? Because I always feel like I actually feel really sad when friendships end, because like even with my high school friends, man, I thought those girls were gonna like ride with me until, but yeah, I don't really speak to them that much. We see, or we have certain interactions and we see like where each person is in life and things like that through social media, so like your Instagrams, your Facebooks, but yeah, none of us are like tight like how we used to be, which I think for me is a bit sad. But like, yeah, sometimes it's like, yeah, friendships end, they run their course, you know, for a season and a reason, and you just have to keep it moving. But yes, when can you actually tell, Guti, okay, this friendship, I suspect me, it's not working, it's not doing the things that it used to, and now I need to move on?
Well, first of all, like I said, on my side, friendship is it's almost like a relationship. You have a part of me and I have a part of you, and obviously I can't live without a part of me. Like, doesn't make sense. I can't live without you. So if days go go by without me, even a day goes by without me communicating with myself, then it must be a problem. It doesn't make sense that um, I am I am Ziggy's friend and we are close too much that we talk about a lot of things. We, we, we're starting to have a lot of things in common because I feed from, if you are a friend, I feed from you and you feed from me. Like, I'm always going to go back to that, like, to Proverbs, that an iron sharpens another. So if you are not there, who sharpens me? And who sharpens you when you are not with me? So for me, if you spend less time with me, that is why the circle should be small because you have to keep communicating with your friend. You have to once in a while see your friend. You have to once in a while share things with your friend, gift or even not gifts, but share something with your friend. Make your friend happy. Let your friend make you happy. So if those things are not being done, then who does she or he do them with? So for me, it's if communication. I don't want to miss my friend. I do not want to miss my friend. So if it comes to a point where I say, yo, I miss Ntiga, it's been a while, then for me, that's when I see that, no, Ntiga is now just a person that I know. It's no more a friend. Because if he's a friend, I can't be missing him like this because I have to talk to him. Like, I have to talk to him. I have to at least see him once. Once in a while, like not even once. Yeah, I have to see my friend. I have to talk to my friend. I have to give my friend. I have to make my friend happy, and same applies to my friend. So for me, if I see lack in those things, then the friendship is over. The friendship is not ending. The friendship is over because if you don't do them with me, you're probably doing them with someone else because we're humans. That's why we need relationships and friendships. So, because there are some points and part of our life that require us to have friendship or relationships. And then maybe we need to talk to someone, we need to share some things with someone, we need to go out with someone, we need to pray with someone, we need to do all those things with someone. That's why we need a friend. We need a relationship with a friend. So if you are not with me or if you're not doing those things with me, then who are you doing them with? That means you have another friend that is a priority more than me. So for me, I can see once I miss you, once I say, oh, it's been a while since I haven't brought it to get kid, or it's been a while since I checked up and see you. Then for me, it's no more a friendship. It's an associate or someone I know or used to be a friend because if you are my friend and you're still my friend, I mean I have to check up on you. If not every day, once in 2 days. I mean not even once in 2 days. You have to be constantly on my speed dial. I have to call you now and then. I mean that's a true friendship. I'm not talking about friendship of nowadays whereby you can take the whole week without talking to your friend. And then the next day you will say, yeah, my friends are toxic because they only want to see me on weekends. They're not your friends anymore if they want to see you on weekends. Because who checked up on you? How was work? Who called you and asked you, you, are you fine? How are you feeling? How's your health? Who checked up on you? Who bought you airtime or who bought you a gift? Who did all those things if you only see your friends on weekends or when there are events? Then they're not friends. Allow me to say the church mates because you see them on Sunday. Allow me to say they turn up mates if you only see them on weekends. They're not really friends. They're just people you do things with.
Yeah.
I still stand to be corrected. I still stand to be corrected because if you
I
don't talk
agree.
to me the whole week, if you don't talk to me the whole week and you're gonna call me on Friday, that you're gonna turn up. I mean, that's not even a red flag. Clear, we are not friends. We are just people who go out together.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
Who did I tell that to your friend? This guy is calling me. He's a crush on me. Yeah. Who did I tell that? Yo, there's no food at home. I don't know what to do. Who did I tell that I'm studying and I can't get anything in my head? Where did I? Who did I talk to and actually air up my frustrations and everything? Who? That is, I like to think that that's why the Bible says we have a friend in Jesus because nowadays the only person that we can do that every day to is Jesus. That's why we say Jesus is the true friend because we can do all the real friendship characteristics or I don't know which word to use, but with Jesus, because I mean he's the only person maybe that's consistent. Other than other than that, I mean you can't say you my friend if you don't know. I mean with both sides, with both parties, you can't say you my friend if you don't know where I stay, you don't know what I've eaten today, or have I eaten, you don't know my situation at home. You don't know my goals, you don't know anything, you don't check up on me. Friend, what have you done today that pushing you close to your goal? Oh, this and that. Okay, yeah, no, my uncle is doing 1, 2, 3. I'll plug you on Friday, or I'll plug you or I'll plug you when she comes. That's a friend. Like you keep communicating, you keep finding things for each other. If Lisa has a problem and I know someone who can help, quickly I call and help. If the guy has a problem, like being a friend is being there. It's not just being there when you feel like when you want to. Being a friend is I don't know, man. I went through Google and I checked characteristics of friendship and all this. And like a friend has to be there constantly. So if you spend time without, for me, it's not even besides actions. It's if you spend time without communicating with your friend or talking with your friend for more than a day or two, or longer than that, for me, I can see the friendship is over. Because clearly you're talking to someone. Clearly your new girlfriend is your friend. Clearly your new girlfriend is your friend. So for me, the friendship is over. For me, the friendship is over. Or, or now I know that I'm not that friend anymore. I'm just
Okay.
yeah, just someone you knew. Yeah, I don't want to sugarcoat things because at the end of the day, that is why, like you're saying, that the cousin was saying, well, they only want to call me on Friday to turn up and all that. Yeah, it leads to that because that's what you rooted for them. That's what they can't call you and cry on you. They can't call you and tell you how happy they are because of 22. They can't call you and tell you that they went to the interview and they failed because of 22. They can't communicate with you. So you can't then come and cry and say, I don't want to be friends with them anymore. No, they are not your friends anymore if you can't do that. That's why you end up having toxic friendships because we allow ourselves to have lousy friendships.
Yes, that's actually
that's why they end up being toxic.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true. And I think that's why you need to know when a friendship is over, it's done. Like that's it. Because in other ways, you're the lousy friend, they the lousy friends. It's not good. And very yes, then it just leads to toxicity.
It's not a sin to call someone once in a while who's not your friend anymore.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna wait for it to be toxic, then you're gonna fight with that person, and then the relationship is gonna end in a bad way, and then you can't call that person, then you have grudges and all that. But if you end it in a nice way, like if you know that he's not my friend anymore, so it won't lead to toxicity. To be toxic, it won't be toxic. I believe it won't be toxic. That's why I was saying earlier on that I don't think I want friends because I don't want to be toxic. Because being a friend is a lot. Being a friend is a lot. You can't go to bed not knowing what your friend ate. Is friend, are you okay? Are you fine? Oh, okay, friend, 1, 2, 3. That, I don't like this about you. I think you need to go to the gym or I need to 1, 2, 3. Why? Because no, this is how I see you, and how I see is how people see you. So if it matters to you, you need to fix 1, 2, 3 in your life. Like how do you go to bed without having a friend criticizing you, appreciating you, teaching you, praying with you, or I mean, a friend must be, like I said, a relationship. When it's a relationship, it's a give and take. It's a give and take. I believe on my side, it's a transaction. That's why it becomes toxic and it ends because when it's no more a transaction, I mean, I give you money because I want that banana. You don't give me that banana. You're obviously going to fight. But if it's a transaction, I give you money, you give me banana.
Yeah.
If I give you that money, then you give me that airtime or that banana. We are cool. We don't have to fight. I'm just using that, not necessarily financially, not necessarily that if I cry today, then tomorrow you can cry on me or you have to cry on me. you have to lash out on me. No, it's fine not to do that. But I'm just saying, we have to be not necessarily equal, but an iron has to sharpen another iron, and that can happen if you are far from me, distance from me. So I need to check up on you. Like I said, you need to be on my speed dial. You need to be on my speed dial. When I open my WhatsApp, you should be in the first top 3 or top 5. And if not, if if not, then that means I have better things to do. I don't need a friend because I have to keep saying, look, 1, 2, 3 is happening. What do you think? No, I think 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. That's why a lot of people when they start being in relationships, they end their friendships. I don't know if you've noticed that, or their friendships start lacking, or they have to choose whether friends or relationship.
Or the boyfriend.
Because why? Because why? Because you start doing the things that you should do with your friend, with your boyfriend. Like you start checking up on her or here, especially when the relationship is new. You start doing all the things that you're supposed to do with your friend. Now you do with your boyfriend. You tell your boyfriend how the boss is. You tell your boyfriend how was school and all that. So let's not force friendship. That's not still not to have a friend, because if you force friendship, it ends up being toxic.
Sure.
It ends up being very, very, very toxic. It's fine. Itia is my brother from church. I'm gonna hit Itia up when I need help. I'm gonna hit Itia up just to check on if he's okay. I'm gonna check if he wants to go for the movie today. It's fine to do all those things. It's fine to invite people to go out with. It's fine to call them for help. It's fine to call them when you need clarity on something. It's fine to call them and just check up with them. Look, my brother, I was thinking about you, I do that most of the time. I tell people, I was thinking about you, or I'm just checking up on you, man. What's up? And then people are depressed and have anxiety. Are you coping? Are you fine? So, okay, maybe there's something I can do. Maybe there's someone I can plug you or hook you up with that can maybe help you, talk to you. It's not wrong doing that. But what's wrong is keeping a friendship that is not beneficial, because that's when it ends up being toxic. A friendship has to be beneficial. I still stand to be corrected, because for some people, a friendship is more of emotional feelings only talking involved. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine. We're not the same. I'm fine with that. But I believe it's not being toxic when it's not beneficial.
Yeah. No, yeah.
We are useless to each other. That's why you can find out that Untiga now can spend a week without talking to me. Why? Because he's probably talking to Brother Daniel, and Brother Daniel is feeding Untiga with the word. He's feeding Untiga with new ideas. He's feeding Untiga with business ideas. He's plugging Untiga into business, whatnot, and then it's going to be toxic because now I don't have someone to chill with, because now Untiga is always busy. That's when it becomes toxic. No, Untiga only calls me when he's around the hood. He doesn't check up on me. Why? Yes, because he's busy. He has a real friend. He has someone that he communicates with every day. You're not a friend anymore. So I believe a friend. You guys are laughing at me, but I believe a friend has to be there 24/7. If you can't be there for someone 24/7, you're not a friend. That's why they say. That's why they say friends. Most of the people that are still friends with their preschool friends, they'll tell you, no, he has become more like my sister. He cares for me more than my family. Why? It's because a friend is there 24/7. Whenever you need a friend should be there. A friend is someone who can take a bullet from you. A friendship is deeper than family. I don't say that. Friendship is deeper than a family member, because a family member you were forced because you were born with or with them.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. You have to love them. But a friendship, you chose it because it meets your standards. He's there for you. It's like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle that fits. Yeah, so a friendship is way deeper. The only reason why a family is deep is because same blood, one of the same parents, you live in the same house, so you probably know the weakness and the strong points, and he's 24/7 there. Maybe that's the most important thing about family. But a friend is way important. A friend is deeper. A friend is there like a family. A friend gets deeper into family issues. That is why I say, for me, I'm cool with the family. I'm okay. I'll be friends with my wife, with my kids, and with my family. close family because I can talk to them anytime I can. Because I know if I'm going to be friends with Ntsika, now he's going to find someone who's constantly calling him and feeding him the word more than I do, and taking him out more than I do, and doing all the right things more than I do.
You have such high standards for a friend. I feel like you have such high standards for a friend. If a person doesn't meet these standards, they cannot be a friend. Like they fall so
yes. You want to know why? It's because it's because on how I see it, and I still stand to be corrected. It's because if that doesn't happen, one way or another, it's gonna be toxic. I know, I'm sure.
No, okay, yes, that makes sense. But I hope, in the same way that you have such high standards, I hope that you are this friend that you're describing. I hope you are this friend.
We had a friendship like that with my friends. That's why I'm saying they took the bar up. We were up there. That's why it's not easy for me to be friends with anyone, because I know what's a friend, and I thought they were more like family to me. So when I was checking on Google and talking to people, I realized, a friend is way deeper than just going out, just chilling, just talking about random stuff. A friend is good. That's why a friendship becomes toxic at the end of the day. Someone has to complain if a friendship is not beneficial. Like I was saying, someone is going to complain at the end of the day. I am sure. Yes, every time Angonela, Akalagin, Yamlalela Maramina, Ukalapis for me. What's that? You're beneficial to them. It happens all the time. I know it happens all the time. I'm sorry to use my home language if there's some people who cannot hear but that's why I'm saying a friendship should be beneficial. My cousins, my family, a friendship should be very beneficial. That's why I advise people stay away from a friendship if you know that you are so self-centered, you're so selfish, because you are toxic. You are going to be toxic. If you're going through a phase in your life whereby it demands you to focus on yourself more than any other thing, make sure you get a friend that you can involve in everything that you do, that you can tell. If you want to keep secrets to yourself, then you're a toxic friend, because at the end of the day, you're going to have a lot of boundaries that are unnecessary for a friend, and then it's gonna end up being toxic. Like I say, Mom, every time I call Tuli, every time when Tuli calls me or when Bishop calls me and when they crown me, I always drive and see them. But this one time that I needed them, they were never there. Just this one time. How many times have they called me? I always tell you that I just called them once. It always happens. Am I lying, guys? Am I lying?
You're not lying, but exactly. I don't know if that's enough to just end a friendship, because like we said at the beginning, people are busy.
Toxic.
It's toxic. Yes, but like people are busy.
If you're too, that's why we're keeping the circle small, because if you are too busy to text your friend and tell your friend on your spare time, my friend, I'm busy with this assignment, just it is killing me, or it is long, or I didn't submit on time, blah 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 blah. If your friend cannot be involved in your personal life, if you only tell me what you're doing, don't just say you're busy. Don't just be busy for me. If I'm your real friend, you wanna involve me. I wanna know that from 9 to 10, so this busy with the podcast with who and who about one so and so and so. So I also become excited, and I give you some space, and after that I'm gonna call you. How is the podcast, friend? That's a friend. So you can't say people are busy. That's why if you are too busy, don't have friends. Be busy, focus on your life, talk to Jesus as your friend. Stop struggling other human beings, because it's going to end up being toxic. I'm sorry to take the whole hour.
Wow. Ziga, you've been heard. Yeah, that sounds like you've been heard. I think people have more friends to you. Ziga, how do you know that a friendship is over?
Firstly, I just want to say, whoever hurt Njabula, they need to come forward and apologize, because
no, guys, but I don't know if I'm wrong, but okay, you can go ahead. Please go ahead, my brother. Please go ahead. I'm just.
I'm not gonna lie to you. So for me, it's really a bit tricky because, firstly, for me, what I kind of used kind of gauge like the level of friendship. I understand that there's people who pour into me. That's number one. I probably don't yet have the capacity to pour into them, whatnot. So they solely pour into me. And then there's people where it's a two-way street. I pour into them and they pour into me. And then thirdly, there's people that I pour into. I don't draw from them, I just pour into. And I think once you are able to differentiate between the three, it will allow you to gauge the level of friendship, that this one I can come to with an issue and they'll help me out. This one, I can't come to them with the issue because I know how they are. They too emotional, whatever the case is. So that's the first thing for me, how I gauge my friendship. So if you fail at one of the three here, then for me, we're not serving each other anymore. But just to take it maybe a step further. So biblically, we're supposed to model our lives according to Christ, right? And with Christ, certain level of love, or I'll say the high, has been extended to us. That even in our shortfalls, even in us disappointing Christ, with our sinning and whatnot, there's a certain level of grace that has been extended to us. So the reason why I'd say it's tricky to kind of gauge when like a friendship is over is like, even if the person stops talking to you, have you extended like the amount of grace that you have, that like, I checked on them 5 times and still nothing. They didn't take my call. I still prayed for them while they weren't taking my call. I tried to maybe reach out to someone close to them, like, yo, Jabulo's not taking my call. I don't know if he's okay. Like, can you maybe find out for me? Like, if you've really extended yourself, if you've really operated within love, like, okay, like, I've really tried my best to stay in contact with this person. I've tried my best to cultivate the friendship, and they're still not budging, then I'll say, by all means, take a step back. But if we're meant to model ourselves around Christ, then definitely there's no friend like Jesus Christ. That is factual. But, the Bible kind of talks about how the same grace that's extended to us by Christ is the same grace that we need to extend to others. So there's definitely hurt. There's definitely pain. There's definitely people disappointing you. I'm in the middle of two, like, important friendships of mine falling apart, and I'm okay with it, because like with me, if I give you 100% and there's one day where I give you 10%, if you identify me as that 10% and take away from all the 10,000 years I gave you my 100%, then clearly you're not meant to be in my space, because you identify me with a fraction of what I've generally given you over time. So I'm okay to let that go. If there's one thing that I don't do, I don't chase. Like, if you come to me as a friend, like, yo, I don't feel like whatnot. If you feel like that, you can go, like, you've expressed it. That's your sentiment. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna be like, but listen, we've been friends for 10 years. Listen, take your 10 years and take it somewhere else. Like, because it would be a different story if, like, we not talking as much. Then, like, okay, no, this is not good. Let me reach out,
Yeah.
But now if you're coming to me and expressing that this is what you want, listen, boo-boo, deal with it. I hope life pans out really well for you, and all those nice things. So it's tricky to gauge when a friendship has ended, because I feel like once you feel like you've really given yourself, like, I've really tried with this person. Like, usually we call each other 5 times a day, and now it's just once a day. And like, I don't know why, like, like things like that. Like with what Njabula was saying, I feel like to an extent it's spot on. You understand the level of friendship that you have with someone. If we talk every day and out of nowhere, it's every second day, and then once a week, and then once a month, clearly there's something wrong. We've established our friendship in constantly communicating. So if you break what has established the friendship, you're essentially ripping apart the foundation of what we're building on. So I think, yes, communication, interaction, connection is so important. But in addition to that, there's a certain level of grace and love that we still need to extend, that, like, listen, and it doesn't make sense for it to just not be any reason. And I also feel like your friend should be also, like, able to go the extra mile for you. There's this portion of scripture in the Bible it's in the New Testament. This one's in Luke. So Luke chapter 5, where this guy was sick, and like his friends took him to Jesus, right? But they couldn't get through to Jesus like through the door because it was packed. There were people. So these homies climbed on the roof and lowered their friend who was basically like on the mat type thing to where Jesus was. Like they broke the tiles on the roof and they lowered. Like if your friends are not willing to go there for you, or you're not willing to do that for your friends, then you're no longer beneficial to each other.
Yeah.
If you're not really willing to go the extra mile, because I'm petty. I don't double text you reply, you know, like don't come at me like, oh my gosh, why didn't you text again? Why didn't you answer the first text? Like I need to know things like that. But I always try and resolve things from there. Be like, okay, cool. I was waiting for your response, but okay, there was miscommunication, whatever, we build from there. But I mean, if there's a certain narrative and understanding that you guys have between each other, that like if I text, you text back, if I call, you must answer the call, or if you can't answer the call, let me know, like, hey, I'm still busy, I'll get back to you. And after you say you're going to get back to me, actually get back to me.
Yeah.
I don't think like I'm putting too much pressure on you. Like with what we're saying with Njabula, like he must be the same kind of friend that he expects in other people. I feel like if you're able to be that friend already and you're established in how you conduct your friendships, then like if someone's not meeting the quota and you've done what you can, then I'd say it's over. But like if there's unspoken tension or unspoken disagreement that hasn't been sorted, you're technically still in the friendship. It's like you're married in a house, but as much as you guys are fighting, one is on the couch and one is in the bed. Oksala, you're both still in the house. One is probably on the other side of the house, but once you come to an understanding, like, okay, cool, I think our time has come. Let's just move out the house. We'll find our own. There's been something spoken. You know where you stand. But where you don't know where you stand, you're still in the same situation. You're still tied to whatever demons or ill wishes this person has for you because, oh, Jablo hasn't texted me in a week. Okay, I hope his life goes well, whatnot. As much as it's like well wishes, it's you being spiteful, It's not you operating from a place of love. It's not you extending the Christ-like side of you. It's not you giving grace. So it's tricky as to know when a friendship has ended, but my take on it would be once you have extended yourself to the max and the person is still not on board, even with growth. Like if you're meant to start a company, right? And you tell me about it, and you tell me about it passionately, and then you tell me, no, by the end of this month, the company is going to be registered. If I come to you next month and I'm like, yo, how did the registration go? And you're giving me stories, and I'm like, no, it's fine. Okay, cool. You didn't have the money. Now you have the money. Go do it. And then the next time I ask you, like, I know, I just had whatnot. And then the next time, firstly, I'm holding you accountable as a friend. Yes. But like, there's only so much I can do. I'm not gonna hold your hand and go register online. And I'm not. Like, you must do that. Like, I feel like it's also kind of showing your level of intentionalism for yourself. Like, if you're not willing to let yourself progress, then what about me, who's not you? Like, if you can't take care of yourself, then what are you doing in my space? So yeah, that's my take there.
That's a hard one. Sure. Let's see. How do you know that a friendship is over?
I often don't. I agree with everything that he said. Like, I genuinely agree with everything he said. There's nothing more that I can add to that.
Cool. Yeah, I think sometimes you won't know value. It's okay. This friendship has run its course. I do remember having a conversation with my sister about one of my friends, and she just said to me, like, this person was actually never your friend. And I had to think hard. It's okay, wait, of all the incidences this person has actually like done and all the pain, the pain that I chose to recognize that they put me through, how is it that I'm still thinking this person's my friend? This person's clearly not my friend. So yeah, it's hard to actually come to that realization sometimes. But yeah, I was grateful when that realization came to be, because I was like, oh wow, now I'm free. Because it is, you try so hard and you think that this person is your friend. You keep giving 100, you give 90, you give 80, and you just keep getting like the 10%, the 20, and you're like, okay, no, I'm wasting my time here. So yeah, I had to cut that one loose fast and quick.
Yep. and that cutting off process, like it's not easy sometimes, because just like in a relationship, you invest so much of yourself in a person, and then now you're finding out that, like, this person's not beneficial to your life. So it's never easy, but in the short term it's painful, but in the long term it's beneficial, because in life, or as Christians as well, like, we're constantly poured into by God. Like, God is always pouring into us, and there's an overflow in our lives, right? So with that overflow, we have capacity to pour into other people, right? And sometimes you observe, like, I've been pouring into this person, but they're taking what you're pouring into them, and they either leaving it in their cup, or they're pouring it into, like, soil that's not fertile. They're not even using what you're giving them, to their benefit. And when you kind of think about, because you care about yourself first, and you care about enriching those around you, you'll then want to put value into people who actually want to progress, and people who want to move. And it will be the closest friends that will mess you up. It will be the closest friends that will have you thinking, like, I believed in this person.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy thing to do when you detach, but it's the best thing that you can do for yourself. That's definitely the best thing you can do for yourself.
Very true.
I have a question. I know it's not one of the questions, but I have a question. How can you be friends with someone that has different beliefs and views, that is different, not goals, because we have different careers and different things, but who can you be friends with someone who has different beliefs, who has different lifestyle, who's just different from me? Because a lot of people say, okay, some people say, no, my friendship with her is close because we, especially girls, that I know, not saying that. No, our friendship is close. Our friendship is lasting because we have different things. I mean, we like different things, so we don't fight for the same things. We don't argue for the same things. It's not a competition because we have different views, blah blah blah, and all that. Because I think I've heard, not a lot. I think I've heard three or two girls say to me that they would rather have friends that are very different from them, because in that way they don't have to compete, they don't have to fight for things or argue for a lot of things. In that way, yeah, I don't know. I've had three or two girls tell me that, and then with guys, I know guys that always want to be friends with people who are in the same line as them. If I'm a guy and I drink alcohol, I want to be friends with people who drink alcohol. I want to be friends. If I'm a guy who that's why most of guys, they're friends that are in the same career, whatnot, or same church, or because they like being friends with people that they always are with them or they spend time with them. I don't know, or like doing the same thing with them. So my question is, and I sometimes tend to be corrected about that, but my question is, can you be friends with someone who has different beliefs as you? Who believes, if you believe in Jesus and Christianity, then that person believes in maybe Allah or some other religion, or maybe ancestors. Can you be friends with someone like that? Can you be friends with someone who is just someone who, you don't drink, you don't like going out, you an introvert, and then your friend is an extrovert, likes partying, likes being wild, and at the same time you're the opposite. Can you be friends with someone like that? Can friends be like that? Just a question. And if so, then how do you then be friends with someone like that? Like,
yeah,
where do you guys meet? What's your common ground? What's your I'd like to know that, because people have friends like that, more especially that I've seen females have friends like that. So I'd like to know.
Yeah, I think you can.
I'd like to know
it just
how.
depends. I think it just depends. I think it's like how Untiga was saying, that you can then start to categorize, like, what are these friendships, right? So is this a friendship where you're pouring into and they're also pouring into you? Is this a friendship that you're simply pouring in, pouring out of? Like, you need to decide that for yourself. So I don't think I have a problem with there being people in my life who have a different lifestyle, who like different things. I think that's where we can possibly complement each other and teach each other things. So for instance, if I am friends with somebody, that's why actually my friends, like the age range is actually quite different. Like I have friends that are much younger than me, and I feel like I'm like the big sister to them. I have friends that are my age that I can also kind of learn some things from. And then I have friends that are much older than me, and I can learn things from them, you know. I have friends that are married, that are, you know, like living a completely different life than what I am. My friends that are parents and all sorts of things. I don't want to be a parent. I don't want to get married. So yeah, it's a completely kind of different thing for me, but there is stuff and yeah, I think like there's stuff that I can learn from them, and there's ways that we can still I guess sharpen each other, right? Like they can sharpen me, I can sharpen them. And I think there's definitely a benefit in being friends with people that are not exactly like you, because then how do you learn? How does anyone call you out on anything? Because if it's the same people that are going to be around you that are just yes people, then that's not a good thing either. I don't want to be surrounded by people who are just always going to say, yeah, Tudi, you know, like even if I'm doing something wrong, it's just like, yeah, Tudi, that's fine, you know, like you're good, you know. And it's just like, no, I want a person that can tell me off, and will not tell me off, but like, you know, point out when it is I'm doing something wrong, or that can teach me something, or I can teach them something. They can learn from me. I think it is important to have friends that are not exactly like you, that don't have the exact same lifestyle, don't believe the exact same things as you do, because then who challenges you in that case? So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
So it is true that those people that say they want to be friends, they prefer friends who are different from them. It is because of what you say, that they learn new things. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Anyone else want to answer that one?
I definitely want to jump in. So I think my take is a bit different. So as Christians, firstly, when it comes up to our beliefs, like we're not gonna force Christianity down anyone's throat. You know, we're not gonna condemn them, or you believe in, you know, a different God and whatnot. You know, and to an extent, people. So people will see your belief and being a Christian through how you conduct yourself. Right? There's this quote that was circulating on Facebook where I saw sometimes the only Bible that people will read is you. Step in the person that you are and what you believe and what not. The people around you shouldn't your belief to be different. I get, you know, that we can sharpen each other, but also understanding like the heart of the person and the spirit behind the person that, you know, you're interacting with. So I think we can definitely be friends with them, but it's also just understanding where to place them, because you know, spiritual things, like they're quite intense, you know. So the people that you interact with, you're kind of volunteering to stand in the gap with them, and with you standing in the gap with them spiritually, you're kind of fighting the battles that they're spiritually fighting as well. You're basically in a space where like I'm standing with you. Like if you have you know, certain issues, whether it's family relationships or finances or whatnot, there's always a spirit behind it. And you're not just addressing the issue, but you're also challenging the spirit behind it. So I would advise to be careful with the people that you do interact with, that, you know, as much as, you know, iron definitely does sharpen iron, but you must know the spirit behind it, especially when it comes to different beliefs and whatnot, you know, because with other religions, like when we discussed last week, you know, if you do something wrong, there's punishment. You know, be mindful of not inviting that kind of behavior, that kind of spirit into your life, standing or walking with someone or calling someone friend. So as much as understand how much of an interaction you must have with them and how much of an exchange must have with them and how close you have them to you, how much they influence you, and people can pour wisdom into you. But once again, it can sound so right. But once again, like trace the spirit behind it, trace the heart behind it. And I really believe also when it comes to friendships, it's about discerning. Like, is this person really supposed to be in my
space? Yeah.
Is this person in can they? You're not wrong from expecting certain things from your friends, especially if you're trying to grow and move. You want to move, so there's certain things that you will do that will obviously point you in the direction of your purpose and your destiny. So if what they bring to the table does not align with where you're going, then like I would say do not interact. And even with things of church and whatnot, if you're with the podcast as well, like if someone tries to deter you from the initial vision of your podcast or what you have made it out to be, then they're interfering with the work of God, because God placed this in you. And as much as the advice that they give might sound right, be like, why don't you change it to the Youth Up podcast so you can reach more people? But the basis of it is Christ. So you're making me remove the identity of vision just to suit you or suit what you want. So like it's just things like that, understanding the spirit and the heart behind the people before like fully engaging and interacting with them.
True. Yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No.
Okay, cool. So just final thoughts then. I think it's actually really cool that we know from the Bible that we have a friend in Jesus and that he is an example of an actual good friend. Like if you feel like there's some things you need to learn in terms of how to be a good friend, Jesus is often called the perfect friend. So I think there's definitely some things that we can learn there. And I think just because Jesus is always there, like there's never a time that you are going to feel alone if you have that relationship with God, right? So if you are spending time in prayer, you're spending time in the word and all of that, you're already strengthening that friendship. And I think that's just so beautiful to know that we have a friend in Jesus, and that even though sometimes our friendships in real life can fall short, you have, that friendship with God, and that's different, and it's more what's the word I'm looking for, but like it feels that much more special, that you don't have to then be so sad about whatever friendships might not be working out with people in your life. But how can we then learn from Jesus to be better friends? Do you think there are ways in which the Bible has been so clear in how it is he's been a good friend, and those are things that we can maybe pick up from?
We can definitely learn from Jesus. I think mostly from his interactions with the disciples. There were 12 disciples, but if I'm not mistaken, there's 3 that were mostly with Jesus. That's once again discerning like who's good for what, who's beneficial for what. And also like with like she kind of check the background, we often want to welcome friends based off of status or like and things like that, kind of like carnal things, worldly things. But some people aren't financially wealthy, but when it comes to wisdom of the word and the wisdom of God, they're really wealthy. So we tend to write people off based on the looks, but like when it comes to Jesus, like he looks at the heart. Even the Bible talks about how man looks at the outward appearance, but like God looks at the heart. So also with us, it's like discerning, like, okay, this person might not be driving a Range, but they have so much wisdom to instill in me that can get me to my purpose and my goal. So with Jesus could have, he's Jesus, he's perfect. He could have done everything on his own. But I think with the disciples were also just to say that like we don't have to do things on our own. But even in not having to do things on our own, we need to be mindful of the people that we have around us. So watching Jesus interact with the disciples and the 3 disciples that he walked with closest will be an indication of like, how we should also govern our friendships, how we should, walk with our friends and so on.
Agreed. Jabula, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, well, not too much, but with 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 me, it's Jesus has had the spirit of discernment more than any other thing. That's why he could tell them, the likes of Judas, that you are going to betray me.
Mm,
I'd like to believe that was really a prophecy. I'd like to believe. Maybe it was a prophecy, but on my side, I'd like to believe it was a spirit of discernment that no, this one will betray me. Because for me, prophecy is something else. You telling someone that what he's going to do, it means that a prophecy is different. But to be from what that's he had the spirit of discernment. So as a person, you have to, like what I was saying again, that you have to have the spirit of discernment. You have to, if you don't have it, you have to pray for it, because you have to know the right people who are you bringing into your life. Some people may not have the same belief, like I was saying, like you were saying also, that you have married people, some people are married. So you have to pray for the spirit of discernment, that I'm friends with someone who's married and I don't want to be married because of one people. So what if some other day, what if maybe you were not meant to be married at all? Maybe that's how you can meet to married, and you find yourself in another relationship, married again, because of your friend, because your friend is so much in your life and is so influential in your life. It happens. Some people are strong, some people are not. So it happens that
yeah.
you end up doing things that your friends do. And I'm not talking about wrong things, I'm talking about things that are right or that may be right or that may look right. So I think for me, Jesus had the spirit of discernment more than any other thing. So we need to have the spirit of discernment.
True.
Um, and,
Yeah.
and if you don't have the spirit of discernment, it goes back to what I was saying. It like what you were saying, Jesus is the right example, perfect example for a friend. And if you can check Jesus, those are high standards. Those are high standards that I was talking about, mixed with what Ntiga was saying, mixed with what Ntiga was saying, that going an extra mile, say, okay,
Yeah.
let me, the grace, let me have that grace, let me have that grace period, let me go the extra mile. That was Jesus. But above that, he had high standards. Like if you can check how Jesus is a friend to us, like you were also saying how his availability, how you feel like he's always there for you. That is why a friend should be like that. So yeah, Jesus must be. My late father used to say Jesus is a standard. Jesus must be your standard in everything that you do. So also in this friendship, you should if you wanna have the right relationship or friendship, uh, refer to Jesus. Refer to Jesus and how Jesus is a friend to you and how he's there for you. And most of you are spirit of discernment.
Yeah. True. Yeah, that's powerful. So yeah, one of those songs or hymns that come to mind whenever you think about Jesus being a friend actually is that song that's, I don't know what the name of the song is, but I know that some of the lyrics are, what a friend we have in Jesus. And yeah, it's so true that you really do. Oh, that's the name of the song. Yeah. What a friend you have in Jesus. I say I just know what the name of the song was. I just remember that being the lyric. But yeah, like we have a friend in Jesus, and we should really just we should find peace in that, even if your friends do fall short, don't have time for you, sometimes can't listen to you when you want to cry about your problems, you can do that with God. Like you just need to, yeah, like maybe close your eyes, say a prayer, something. But yeah, maybe spending that time with God versus spending time with any of your other friends is definitely a special thing. So yeah, because friendship is a relationship, but it should be a relationship actually with no strings attached, except the ones that you choose to tie. So one that's just about being there and being there as best as you can. So the same way that Ntiga was talking about how we need to extend grace, you really just need to show up as your best self and be that good friend. And I think, yeah, everyone is capable of doing that. But yeah, maybe just see where it is you choose to extend yourself, because maybe sometimes you're overextending and you don't want to be doing that. But yeah, when you do find a good friend and you want to hold them to high standards, just also make sure that you are being that friend. So Njabulo, back to you. I'm saying, like, you have such high standards. I hope that the high standards that you have, you are being a good
I have Jesus standards. I have Jesus standard of being
I hope you are the Jesus standard to your friends too.
That is why, no, I may not be, before people get me wrong, I choose to stay away from friends because I may not be that friend. So it will end in tears. So it will end in that. So I choose not to. I choose not to.
That is absolutely fair. So yeah, that's our episode. Thank you for joining us, and please follow us on Instagram at Christ Up Podcast. Subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss an episode, and please share this episode with a friend. And remember that you are blessed to be a blessing. Christ Up all day, every day.